So Spiral Mountain sucks. Let me give you some context. On one of my streams, I rambled on about why I hated Spiral Mountain, and now I'm going to explain it here. For starters, Spiral Mountain is not a bad stage. You have some of these cute bridges, these platforms, this little slope slidey thing you can stand on, and it's got walls like Pokemon League if you're into that thing. It is by far not the worst stage to fight on. That will go to 85N. Now, the stage design is coming from the perspective of a casual player. I know all y'all competitive folks' favorite stage is Pokemon Stadium 2, and this rant has nothing to do with you, so please get out. Anyway, the reason why I think why Spiral Mountain sucks as a stage is because of one thing. The rotation! Before we continue, there are a lot of transforming stages that change the stage. You got your side scrollers, you got your platform takey wakey, and you got whatever the fuck animal is. But none of these stages have the aspect of rotating like that of Spiral Mountain, with only a few similarities being Burnstar Death, Frigate or Freon, and Umbra Clock Tower, of which we will compare later. But why is the simple aspect of rotating making this stage suck for me? Well, compared to all the other cinematic stages that have you zipping across the world, Spiral Mountain's rotation looks awful. And I don't mean that the stage looks bad. It's gorgeous, don't get me wrong, but the motion at which the stage rotates makes the scene look unappealing to look at. Now, many stages have done this cinematic movement well, like Hero Stage, the Mario Circuit stages, and the Monastery Place. But why are these stages fine while I feel nauseating just looking at a turntable? Well, the simple answer is speed and distance. You see, the stage rotates at a moderate speed to let you bask in all the glory of Banjo HD that you'll never get. And this speed and distance is what hurts the stage. You see, our brain is hardwired to fill in the gaps when it comes to motion, and they do this by making imaginary frames that look blurry in between. This filter is why the stage looks so nauseating to look at. Take a look at this animation, and focus your view around this castle area. Did you see it? Each individual frame is crisp and doesn't have any filters on it, but your brain will force itself to make those imaginary frames because it sees motion and it needs to fill in those gaps. While the middle platform spins just fine without any filters. That's the same effect as what's happening on Spiral Mountain. Your brain is just making imaginary frames that don't exist. And this speed gets worse when you play Nintendo Switch Online. I don't need to explain how the Switch Online loves to wheeze itself to death, but when it gets as choppy as this, your brain just tries to make it look as smooth as possible, but it just ends up giving you a migraine. But you said there are other stages that rotate too. I know, let me get to it. Frigate Orpheon is a stage that rotates itself upside down. It isn't the same as Spiral Mountain, and the speed at which it rotates is too fast for your brain to make any of those frames. On the other hand, you have a stage like Burnstar Depths where its battleground is the one that actually rotates, and while it does rotate slower than Spiral Mountain, the reason our brain doesn't blur it is because the ground is closer to our view. You see, the gap between each frame when the stage rotates is smaller when it's closer to our view, but as we get farther and farther away, the distance grows exponentially. This gap is what our brain is trying to fill, and a way around this is either slowing down the rotation speed or having a higher frame rate so that the transition between each frame looks smoother. Unfortunately, since the Switch is capped at 60 FPS, you're just stuck with this blurry swirl. And finally, Umbra Clock Tower. I have my own issues with this stage, mainly the scrolling cliffside, but the rotation from this said cliffside to sky doesn't really trigger the brain filter as much as, Spiral Mountain. Overall, Spiral Mountain is not a bad stage. It has a great scenery, as well as interesting platforms that make it different from other stages, and I do love that it tries to be different when moving the players to other spots compared to, your usual Uber platforms. And it's not like it's the stage's fault for making me see these blurry frames. Our brains just want to see everything at the same frame rate as real life, and it will mess with us just to make it happen. Plus, it's not like it's the only stage that sucks. Now, will I play this stage normally or ever? Probably not. I don't really like the nauseating spinning, but if it was frozen in place, then probably. But, anyways, that's enough rambling about a spinning stage. If you like the stage, then, more power to you. You probably see better or something. Don't let my ramblings deter you from picking something you like. After all, this is just a nonsensical video on why I think Spiral Mountain sucks. Anyway, I'm done talking now, so I'll see y'all next time.